Welcome back. Today I'm going to attempt to turn my jigsaw into a bandsaw. So even after upgrading my workshop, I still don't have enough room for a bandsaw. Plus there's a couple of other purchases that kind of take priority at the minute. What I'm going to attempt to do is turn my jigsaw into a bandsaw, basically by turning it upside down and putting a box on it. So first of all, this is one of these projects that I have to advise that you do not attempt to do, because jigsaws just aren't designed to be used like this, but needs must. I need to be able to cut out very small bits of wood that I just can't do on really any other device. Even doing it like with a coping saw or something would be tricky with such small pieces. It's going to be much easier doing it with something like this, but I'm just going to have to be really careful with it. So there's a couple of things that we need to think about here, and what also makes this whole project highly dangerous. But if you imagine a bandsaw is basically a big blade on a loop that goes round, and you've got a table kind of here that you have your bit of work on, and the blade is going that away. Effectively, when you're cutting the bit of wood is kind of getting pulled onto the table by the blade. I'm going to draw a kind of zoomed in version of this bit on a bandsaw. So here's the table and here's the blade, and the blade will kind of look not like that, Egypt. So it'll kind of look like that. You've got all sorts of like rollers and things to keep the blade in check. And the other thing is, it's only cutting in one direction, that way. Now if you use an upside down jigsaw on a table, so here's your jigsaw upside down. This is a crap picture of a jigsaw. Anyway, looks like a caravan. Here's your blade, forget about this bit. So here's your blade coming up through the table. A huge blade. Right, so there's your blade coming up through the table. So there's two things that you need to think about. First of all, there's no support whatsoever to the top bit of the blade, unlike a bandsaw. And secondly, you've got to make sure that this blade is a normal jigsaw blade that cuts on what would normally be the upstroke. Because we've got it upside down, we're going to call this the downstroke. But it's got to be a blade that's shaped so that the teeth are like that. So it needs to be, but it needs to be that kind of shaped blade so that the cutting direction is that way. You don't want a reverse cut blade where effectively on a reverse cut blade the cutting direction is that way, and you don't want that, because that's going to be inclined to pull the workpiece away from the table. It's going to try and pull the workpiece away from the table anyway, just because of the fact that the blade's going up and down. That's why a bandsaw is much better, because the blade's only going in one direction. But on a jigsaw, it's going to be inclined, every time it does the upstroke, it's going to be inclined to try and push this bit of work upwards. So you've got to make sure you've got a good hold of it. You definitely don't want a reverse cut blade. They'll sometimes have like an R as part of the model number of the blade, or sometimes they get called clean cut. But you definitely don't want that. It's really dangerous. So just forget about the whole thing. I know my comfort zone with my tools. There's a great risk that if this blade snaps, it's going to go flying up and it's going to hit you square in the eye, and your eye's going to come out, and it's going to be certain death. And also the bit of work could easily flip up off the table. That could hit you in the face as well and just become lodged in your teeth, because my teeth are just under my eye there. Right, let's crack on.
So, I mean, I just gotta be more careful when I see it.
And I've always wondered, like, I go through these hobbies so fast, and I never became an expert at photography, or I never became an expert. That's basically weeks ago.
Look great.
Thank you. Right now, it's the cleanest. Like, I have to go down to my basement. You can keep going on with this.
I'm in a very different position from both. What do I want to do? It's like a